I know this must be hard for you guys, but I'm asking you to stay strong. My hair will grow back. I promise you. I'll grow it back out. Until then, I am very sorry for your loss. Now, this review was only made possible because AMC was generous enough to do a very awesome event at Madison Square Garden, showing off the fan premiere of The Walking Dead Season 6. Man, that's a whole lot of words. But a huge thank you for them for allowing me to get an invite to that event. It was an awesome time, a fantastic experience. And now that you guys are caught up to the very first episode of this seemingly epic Season 6, in my opinion, let's talk The Walking Dead Season 6 premiere. And also, please forgive me, I am on the road. So if you're a new subscriber, it's not really this echoey and everything like that. Let's get right into this. First thing I want to say is I get a ton of comments on this topic. What I'm about to tell you, it's the most common, and I just need to put it out here. This was a 90-minute premiere. That's the time slot, and yes, this is the standard. This has been going on forever, as long as I was a kid. It's not 90 minutes a show. It's a 90-minute time slot with commercials. So a 90-minute time slot equals about 62 to 64 minutes of actual show. We usually get a 1-hour time slot that's 60 minutes, and that usually breaks down to almost exactly 44 exact minutes of show. Yes, I do have to clarify that because I'll get 1,000 comments on bitching and moaning that they didn't give us 90 minutes of show. It's a time slot. Moving along, you guys most likely noticed now that a lot of the trailer that we got for Season 6 was actually in the very first episode. A lot of it, which is very interesting because the misleading trailer and a lot of the scenes being from Episode 1, at least half I'm willing to bet, that means there's a lot more story out there that we're not aware of. For those fans who only followed the trailer like myself and a lot of you probably did. If you're not onto the spoiler sites, there's a lot more show coming that we just have no clue about. The one thing I mentioned in my early review was the walker. In the very beginning, he was coming through the 2 tractor trailers, and a part of his face and a part of his body, it looked like, got hung up on the trailer, and his flap of his skin just ripped wide open. Like I said, I love that walker gore, and I thought that was absolutely awesome, especially for right in the beginning of the episode. Awesome way to kick it off with the walker gore. Now, speaking of the big scene with the trucks, listen, that was very hard to see at Madison Square Garden because we were at such a great distance away from the screen. It was very difficult to see the fine detail. So now, although it looked very epic, I'm not going to get a good idea of how detailed and how good the CGI was until I see it on TV. And as far as some of the dialogue, I missed some points because a lot of the fans were hooting and hollering and screaming and yelling and laughing. Some action scene went off with Rick, and they were just hooting, and I can't hear what he's saying to, what's his name? So I was like, shut up, you know? But it was fun. Everyone was letting it out. They were venting their excitement, so it was fun. But I do miss a couple points, and I want to make that clear if you guys are like, oh, wait a minute, you missed something this guy said or something happened here. That's because there was a lot of noise, a lot of yelling and chanting and hollering, and a lot of the special effects, if there was something messed up, I also didn't see it, and I can't review that here or in the last previous video because I was at that great distance away. Now, I also did make some noise during the premiere. I laughed out loud a couple times. I know that the shit between Tara and Eugene with the hair, that was funny, and I like how they brought up Noah and everything just got real silent, referencing Season 5 as if we're not forgetting about it. This is still part of that transition into this new season. I love how you have Eugene and Heath's dialogue when he first gets to the gate. I think both actors killed it in those scenes, and then Eugene talks about his hair game as well. There's humor injected in these, even ones that aren't necessarily supposed to be humor. I thought they were humor, where Father Gabriel steps up, and I appreciate that his character is stepping up like that. And I really am excited to see more from Father Gabriel, and I'm hoping that him and Sasha both win over some fans. But as soon as he's like, I'll help, and Rick's like, no. Laughed at that. And then you have Sasha and Abraham throwing up the deuces. I liked seeing Sasha coming around a little bit, breaking that shell down, and I hope that continues in season 6. And again, you guys already know, I am betting she wins over a lot of fans, so keep an eye on Sasha. Also, I have down to make sure I mention Nick. It's refreshing watching Nicholas. Remember in my previous video, I talked about how I want to see him come back from that and actually help Glenn and maybe even save his life out on a run. It's very refreshing to see Nicholas stepping up and saying, listen, I was a shitbag, but I want to do something here. And again, that was a part of a comedy part, or at least I felt it was a little bit of comedic relief where Glenn was like, don't do it, dude. Do not go on this, son of a bitch, you know? And right down to one of my favorite moments, comedy-wise, was when Morgan, Michonne, and Rick are standing there, and Morgan is like, man, I just need to know, did you eat one of my peanut butter protein bars? Oh my God, I was dying. I friggin' love that scene. And I think that might even hint, now I'm not into shipping, I'm not into putting couples together. However, I'm hoping that will hint towards a future relationship between Michonne and Morgan. I think they would match as a great couple, especially on the show. And if there's some tragedy down the road, you guys already know where my predictions lie with Morgan. I think that would be a tremendous tragedy to befall on Michonne to kind of push her character in a new direction. I think that is set up too perfect to just be skipped over. And I like how they're kind of starting it up now, you know? At least I feel, or maybe I'm just hoping they're starting it now. And then we got another mention of Holly. Now listen guys, there's a couple videos I'm going to break off from this review and do mini videos. I will leave them in the cards up here, so if you're on a laptop or a mobile device, click that card at the end of this video and watch the individual videos. I'm making these mini vids discussing Holly in them, and that's specifically to keep those conversations in one comment section, basically, because I think these videos that I separate from the review, they're going to be something we can discuss for the next few weeks, maybe even a month or two. So I want to keep those segregated. That way, if I make follow-up videos on those topics alone, I have one clear spot where I can look at everyone's opinions. So if you don't mind, at the end of this video, I do want to make a bonus video talking about Holly, because we did get another mention. Eugene name dropped Holly. I am very excited about that. Check out that video after this one. Speaking of name drops, Morgan name dropped No Way Out. I thought that was very clever. In the room, Morgan said, after Rick apologizes, Morgan says, you know, sometimes I feel safer when there's no way out. And I thought that was so ironic and loved the name drop. And Morgan is a clever cat because Carol is playing her role good. She's in there, man. She's like a spy, not even a spy, like an undercover agent. She's Secret Agent Carol right now. But Morgan, I think that shows very clear how clever Morgan is. He is like Rick and them. He has been out there, he has seen shit, and he's quick to put the pieces together, and he is quick to identify a survivor when he sees one, and he sees one in Carol. And speaking about survivors, we have Deanna. Now, I did mention in a different video, I believe that Deanna was going to be a stronger character as opposed to her comic counterpart, which was Douglas, more of a weaker one. Now, after seeing her at the Madison Square Garden event, I now know why, and I believe that the actor influenced the character, because they said, hey, show us what you do before you go on set each morning. And she was doing dips in her chair, and she's got little guns on her shoulder. I mean, she could probably kick a lot of ass. She's in shape, let's just put it that way. And I believe that influenced the character on the screen, because the producers and the writers were probably like, man, she can utilize her talents better with this stronger character. Let's rock on with that, make her adaptable. And that's exactly what she said at the Madison Square Garden. So now that's going to factor into the predictions we're going to make as far as them translating that scene from the comic and you guys comic book fans know what scene I'm talking about. So again, it could be very similar to that, but instead of having a scared kind of Douglas who was like, I'm going out, boom, 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 we get someone who's stronger, and she just maybe gets a little too overexcited or overzealous, and an accident happens. We'll see. And speaking of being strong, one of our strong characters, Abraham, he acted a little weird in this episode, I thought. There was a couple scenes where I'm like, man, he's a little bit weird. So let me know if I was the only one who felt that way, or if you guys felt there was something odd going on with Abraham. Not in a bad way, in a playful way, in a kind of like, now it makes me want to go and rewatch season 5 again and brush up on the finer details and see where he just got thrown off track, because I know with Eugene lying, that was a hard hit. So maybe this is his comeback to being like, fuck it, man, I'm in this. Let's just do it, you know? So I'm not sure. Comment below. And speaking of weird, I don't know if I heard this right again. It was a little bit loud at times at Madison Square Garden, but when Glenn and Maggie were sitting down and Glenn was like, oh, you need to keep an eye on her. I don't want you going out and helping on this run dealing with these walkers. I want you to keep an eye on her. These people are scared. Did they say, I'm almost positive Maggie said that's not the only reason. And Glenn confirmed it. Is Maggie pregnant? Is that a subtle hint of Maggie being pregnant? Now, I could be jumping at this because of the comic book, and it's just like, oh, wait a minute, but I'm almost 100% positive, and when I rewatch this episode tonight, I'm going to look at that scene and see what she says, because I thought it jumped out at me as a subtle hint that Maggie is in fact pregnant, and that's why Glenn is saying, don't go on the run, stay here. What do you guys think? And speaking about Glenn, Eugene got Glenn's comic book scene. In the comic book, Glenn was the one who overheard Nicholas actually talking about, oh, that's actually funny because of Glenn and Nicholas's situation on the show. Well, in the comic, Glenn overheard Nicholas talking to Spencer and Olivia kind of about, we have to kill Rick before he gets one of us killed. And then Glenn is like, oh, shit, I didn't hear nothing. And they chase Glenn, and this whole ordeal takes place at Glenn's house. He's like, shut the door. Rick shows up, and he does that scene. You're going to take this away from yada, yada, yada. Now, in the show, it was Eugene. There was a little bit of comedy there. However, there was a little bit of tension, because although I didn't believe for a second that Eugene was going to die, and also it would be very stupid of that guy to just shoot him right there. They're going to hear that shit. They're going to come running. But I also loved how they just got rid of that uprising. Not got rid of it, but they utilized it right then and there, because the uprising, remember how I was telling you guys, either make it big or just don't even do it all together? They did something that I didn't think about, but I love it for this episode. They made it relevant to the story. They didn't add filler. They chiseled the perfect story. And at first I was like, oh, don't rush this. But later in retrospect, they chiseled off the fat, and they made that the perfect little relevant piece or nugget into the story, and they inserted it, and I thought it was gorgeous, because not only did it give comic book fans a part of that story, but it also shed light onto Rick, his philosophy on those people that they're going to die no matter what. I love how that came full circle when Carter got his face ripped out, and you know, when that happened, a lot of people were like, oh, why didn't he just do something, push the walker off him? I mean, he was just scared shitless and frozen. I've seen people who got scared and they just can't move, you know. That happens in real life, and that's pretty much what happens. But that comes full circle now, and it's such a strong highlight in the episode, and it's so telling. But also, it shows Rick isn't this crazy bloodlust monster. Now, he did admit something I said last season that a lot of people were like, nah, he's just Shane, he's a psycho killer. He admitted it to Morgan, and I love this when he's sitting on the porch and he's telling Morgan, he's like, I wanted to kill him. That's just easier. Boom, I loved that, because it's the truth. Instead of worrying about him screwing up and getting them all in danger, or you know, maybe potentially causing something to go wrong in Alexandria that puts the entire community in danger, Rick is just like, I'll kill the problem. And remember in season 5 when he had the gun on the guy who Daryl was fighting, the cop at the hospital? And I said in my review, Rick wasn't just like, because a lot of people are like, oh, he's bloodlust, blood hungry, whoop-de-whoop. And I was like, no, I believe that Rick was just contemplating, is this dude a risk? Would it be easier to just kill him? I believe 100% that's what Rick was contemplating. And it fits beautifully into the story now because that's what Rick was contemplating. Rick wanted to kill him. And the problem, we don't have to worry about this dude, Carter, being a douchebag and screwing something up and getting somebody killed. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, Carter only got himself killed in the end, but Rick also showed a part of himself, especially to all those people, and that will help them get behind him. As some of them might not fully because they're still scared or hesitant or whatever, but I think that was that piece of the story. That piece of the story was chiseled down perfectly, and I'm sorry for rambling on that one nugget of the story. I enjoyed it so much, the way they translated that to the TV version of this story. Absolutely loved it. And since the uprising was a big thing in the trailer, and it happened like that in the first episode, that's a curveball now, I feel, as far as making predictions. Now we got to go back and reevaluate how we made those predictions and rework our predictions. So I think that is pretty neat. I'm going to have fun doing that, especially for the next episode. The next few, actually, because I'm pretty lost, I'll be honest with you. Now, I'm going to talk about this briefly, but again, in the cards, we're going to have a quick little 2-3 minute video going more in depth, but has the No Way Out, from the storyline from the comic, has that Walker herd started already? Did they start season 6 off with the beginning of No Way Out? If this Walker herd gets out of hand, it could potentially be. It looks like it's heading in that direction. Go ahead, I'll try to put up just a quick video discussing that. Again, only to keep the I'll explain in the video. Go check that out. Another one that's going to get its own video is My Main Concern. Specifically, this is one of the more important ones that I think is not more important, but I think the more interesting one for us to have a conversation about. My biggest concern, not only with season 5 and how they did it, which looking back now, that's probably one of my only complaints in Alexandria as far as the way they did this story, but it's looking like it might be one of my other complaints in season 6, or my concern, I should say, and that is Jesse. You see, in the comic book, Jesse was a totally different character. And in the show, it kind of feels like they're forcing a totally different character into this role. And again, it's something I just have concerns. Check out that video and please join that discussion because it's one that I'm very interested in your opinions. Hopefully you guys can change my mind and make me feel better about it. Now, one of the second to last topics to discuss in this video is the transition from season 5 into season 6. And I love how they did the black and white, which is like paying respects, at least I feel it is, to the source material because the comic is in black and white. But I absolutely love, and I said this in my other review, they took story that would have potentially eaten up 3 to 4 episodes of slower episodes with just 1 or 2 cool things happening. They took that story, they trimmed the fat, they utilized some time skip with some flashback elements. They combined it together to give us a premiere that I think is brilliant. It's damn near perfect in my eyes. Not only interesting, but setting up the story for not only the next episode, but the entire season. I got the vibe of at least the next half of this season just from this one episode. And that doesn't happen often, especially not with a premiere. I just get this feeling from this premiere. It's setting up something huge. And again, with that transition from 5 into 6, they utilized it perfectly. Carter in the past, not getting along. But we don't have to see a number of episodes where that's fallen apart, becoming unstable. It happens in a couple flashbacks, and we're right into the story. Same thing with Heath. He comes in. We understand why he wasn't there when our group got there. We see him kind of getting used to our characters, and then he's already on runs. I think this transition from 5 into 6 was one of the best writing decisions they have made. This was one of the most solid decisions they could have done for a premiere, but not just for any premiere, but this premiere. I don't have any other words. Maybe it's just me and I'm the one who likes it so much, but I just fully 100% believe that transition was just perfect for this episode and this season. And I should just shut up about it. I'm probably the only one who's just in love with the way they did that transition. But one of the last things in this video is that cliffhanger. I did not see that one coming. I knew they were going to have problems, or I figured, or I was guessing because of the trailer. And I knew something was going to go wrong. I thought it was going to be Carter, but that was kind of like a feint or a rope-a-dope. They faked this out with the Carter. I thought that was going to be what deviates the herd. And then it's like, oh shit, it's going good? Well, wait a minute, what goes wrong? And then you hear this horn blasting. Now, immediately I thought either, young Ron was being a dick and did something, but then I was like, well, that's very stupid. Why would he do that? But then I was like, it has to be the wolves. Now, we're going to talk about this in depth in the prediction video, but it would make sense because there's that time skip. You see what I'm saying? They did mention the wolves in this video, or at least the W's, so they are aware of them. They are making preparations for that. However, because we have that time jump, it's now plausible to have the wolves there for whatever reason, and then flash back to showing them finding Alexandria, again utilizing those flashbacks. But who knows how long they're going to continue to do those flashbacks for. But I got this feeling that this build-up and this format in the first episode is most likely going to play out for at least the next 3 to 4 episodes. It doesn't feel like something they're just doing for the first episode. I could be totally wrong, but we could potentially get Wolf flashbacks, Morgan flashback, I'm hoping we do, and Enid flashbacks to her getting there. And Enid, there is potential for her to be the story replacement for Comic Sophia. That's absolutely 100% possible and likely. There's just no proof yet for me to say for sure. No, she's not Lydia. Forget about that. That doesn't even fit. Doesn't even make sense. Put your money on the Sophia replacement. Listen, guys, we got more videos following. This is just the beginning of a lot of videos and a lot of content coming for The Walking Dead Season 6. So if you're not subscribed to this channel, go ahead and subscribe. And I got to give you guys one hell of a thank you, because we are now at 23,900 subscribers strong. I think I jumped the gun there. Hold on. Let me look it up just to be sure. Yeah? We are now at 23,907 subscribers strong on the road to 100K. Huge thank you to the Matt family. Also, the Walking Dead family. You guys are totally awesome. If you're new, subscribe. Check out that comment section. Very awesome fans to interact with. Listen, I gotta hurry up and get a lot of videos done. I have a very ambitious schedule for tonight. And don't forget to leave your thoughts and opinions in that comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.
Subscribe now.